What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video. This is Race Nation TV. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over Tony Stewart Sprint Car Racing once again. Maybe for the final time. I might do another video after this, but this one's going to be the overall review. All the gameplay you're seeing on screen, that has no context to the video at all. I'm just kind of going to be talking about some different things about the game, and in the end I'll come to a conclusion on whether you should buy it or not. So I'm going to basically structure this video into physics, customization, the career mode, and then the overall game itself. Now, I believe structuring this video this way will kind of cover all the bases of what the game has. I'll be going through each and the positives and the negatives of each. And yeah, so let's just get into it. So starting off with the physics of the game, I'm going to go through my positives. My first positive is that there's no glitches that I've seen in my personal experience of playing, besides the wall glitch where you can ride the wall and actually be faster. I've seen a lot of complaints on Twitter about glitches, but so far this game has been almost flawless to me, glitch-wise. It's obvious that they really tested this game, and it doesn't have any bugs or glitches, and it's just, I've been impressed with how smoothly it's run for me. You can tell that it's pretty cleaned up. No matter what you think of the game, besides maybe a little bit of frame rate drop here and there, but like, to me this game's just been flawless playability wise. So no glitches, that's one thing. And then my next positive is with a setup on the car, it feels great. It really does. With a setup on the car, it feels just like how I'd want it to in a sprint car video game. The rear end slides out for you, and then you just kind of go with the throttle from there, and you're not turning left as much. I will get to that part in the negative, but just continuing with the positives, I think the AI are incredible. I love the challenge that the AI are in this game. It is so hard to win races, and I think that's what you need in a game, is very hard AI, especially on the highest difficulty, because some games, even on the highest difficulty, they're still pretty easily beatable, and this game is not like that. These AI will absolutely trash on you. My last positive will be the bumps on the track, in the shorter tracks. On the inside of the track, there are some tracks where there's some big bumps, and even through the middle of the corner you can see the car, the suspension working, and the top wing kind of jiggling. I love that. I love that aspect. That's something I haven't seen in sprint car games, is actual bumps through the track. Most games in the past, it's just been, the track's just been baby smooth, but the overall loose physics have been fine. That's how the games usually are, and I'm really enjoying that. Something that you witness in real life at an All-Star Circuit Champions, or any sprint car race, is the car working over the bumps, and how the cojones that these drivers have going over those bumps at such high speeds, and that's just something that's really cool to me that I haven't seen in other games. I think the first negative, and the first thing that I've seen complained about, are the crash physics. Now, because there's no open wheel physics to it, they basically hit each other like stock cars, and when you do hit stuff and you have the full damage on, the car will barely show any damage. I mean, the top wing will bend up a little bit even though you haven't hit or flipped. Maybe the front will bend up a little bit, and there might be like a little couple scratch marks, but really there's nothing. There's no damage on the car, really, besides a couple dents. I believe it'll perform worse, the car will, and yeah, and when you hit other cars, it pretty much just handles like a stock car. There's no open wheel physics to it. You can't lock wheels with people or anything like that. So it's definitely something to look forward to in the future. But overall, playing the game, I don't think it's a big deal. So you might say there's more negatives than positives, but some of the negatives really aren't big deals and are just little things just that are worthy enough to point out. The negative is, in the positives I said, with a setup the car feels great. Without one, it needs work. The fact that you need a setup for the game to be great is a negative to me. Without a setup, the cars turn left way too much. By that, you're turning the wheel left and the car's just pushing. Even on a very loose setting in the preset setups, the car will still push straight out when you're turning left. Even at the loosest setting, the car will be way too tight. In future releases, I would love to see more throttle input and less steering to control the car. I think that's what the game needs. Um, Other than that, with the setup though, and you can get the rear end to slide out more with more stagger. I think it fixes itself, honestly. How bad if it was just unplayable because of this, then it would be a way bigger issue than it is. But because you can fix it with a setup, it's still one of those things that doesn't ruin the game entirely. And then the last negative physics wise, and this might be physics, but there's no outside lane to the tracks that I've played, at least. The outside lane is not faster nor as fast as the bottom at any track, and I think that's a problem. A lot of tracks, in real life, you want to run the top line, and top line's faster sometimes. So it's yeah, I think that's something to be worked out. You definitely can't gain an advantage by running the outside. If anything, you lose. If you run the top, you're just going to get freight trained on the bottom. So next up, we're going to go to customization. So some positives on customization. The sponsor variety. That's one thing about the customization that's not a terrible thing, is you do have a lot of sponsors to choose from. That's not the problem at all. Another positive is just the ability to customize it all. I mean, they didn't honestly, for this to be a good game and for the price point, they didn't need to have customization at all in this game, honestly. So we're kind of lucky in a way to have it, period. The color variety, just we didn't have to have it, so I think the ability to have it at all is a positive. And then to the negative, just little things like you can't have your own custom number. All the number presets are taken from the AI or fantasy cars, and most of them, like the 15H that I use or the 26 that I used in the midget video, those are actual All-Star Circuit of Champion team fonts. So then there's a lot of numbers that you can't choose. You just can't choose. I know this was a problem in the NASCAR Heat games for a long time until NASCAR Heat 4. But yeah, I definitely would like to see that be fixed. That's just a little thing that kind of is a negative for me. Your minimal choice of design, again, like they didn't have to do this, but it's just a negative. There's only like 4 or 5 presets that you get for the actual livery of your car. And I feel like there could be more, but again, just nitpicking there a little bit. And then the last thing is the customization for your driver suit and helmet is cool. Honestly, like I said, they didn't have to do that. It's cool, but it doesn't show up half the time when you're racing. So what's the point? If you can customize your suit and helmet, it should show up as your driver inside the car. I've noticed if you're racing as Tony Stewart, he has a green helmet inside the car, and it's a different driver than you normally would race with. I would be guessing that this is what happens with the other drivers, but when you're racing as your custom driver, it's just a white suit and helmet inside the car, and your custom suit and helmet does not show up while you're driving. So, I mean, that kind of takes away from the customization of your driver, don't you think? So next we get into career. Some positive things. The career actually is very advanced for its first release. Honestly, we got way more of a career mode in this game than I think was necessary to make it a good game. Honestly, just really surprised me how in-depth this career mode was. I love the selling and swapping out parts. I love the showcase events. And I love how dang hard those AI are. It feels like the AI go up a notch from when you're racing them in quick race. But here we get into the negatives. I think the AI are ridiculous in the career mode. I think they're fast. I would be saying, hey, maybe it's just I'm bad, right? But I really do think that they're faster than they are in quick race. This could be for a number of reasons, but every time I've raced career, I've even dropped the difficulty down to expert. I might drop it down again. But it's just, I'm right now in Season 2 of career, and I have a midget that I've fully upgraded. I have all of the upgrades. Yet I can still only manage with the setup and running really good clean races. I can still only finish in the top 20. If I'm not involved if I'm not involved with a wreck, I'm running what should be competitive lap times. It just feels like, the engine doesn't have enough power, but yet the gearing is all the way up and I'm not redlining and it feels off, maybe that's a glitch. Um, but yeah, I would say it's just me. But then when I can go in a quick race and be competitive, it kind of tells me that maybe like the parts that you buy aren't working in the game and they're not making a difference. Maybe that's a glitch. That's what that tells me, maybe. Or maybe the AI are just stupid hard in career mode and nothing else. So to me, that's a negative. I think if I can go into a career mode race and run super competitive in the AI's cars and then go to career, if anyone else is having this problem, let me know. But it's just been something confusing that I decided I'd put into the negatives because it's something that's a little like as the career mode's still fun because I love that challenge of not knowing where you're going to finish coming in or whether you're going to be fast, and it would take a miracle for you to win or be in the top five. Because a lot of these career modes, especially like a NASCAR Heat, you can get winning so easy, and it becomes unrealistic at that point. I think if you're winning 1 to 2 races in a season, that's pretty realistic, and that's a challenge. I love playing a career mode that's a challenge. Everybody calls the NASCAR Thunder 2004 the best game of all time because the career mode was genuinely a challenge to get through, and finishing races was genuinely a challenge. And I think that's something that we want out of these games, and I think that's something this game kind of gave us. And it's very positive to look at first release how this game has its career mode. Now, before I get into the overall, I bet you're wondering why am I not talking about online? Personally, just I haven't played much of the online. I've done probably a couple races with some friends. And from what I've seen so far, it's pretty good. Not very glitchy at all. It runs smooth. The only thing I would say about online is maybe the screens should be easier to get through because you have to like join the game and then you can create a private match. So yeah, I think maybe they should be a little bit easier to use. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. And plus, I don't think the online should change the rating on this game at all. I think racing games should be able to exist without online, honestly. So, yeah, I'll just quick little thing on online there. Overall thoughts on the game. Positives, it's a good start. It's the first release of the Sprint Car game series. Sure, they've worked on 4 other games before this on next-gen console. I know they've done the other stuff, but so far on Xbox One, of course, they've had 4 games to work on before this, which is probably why this game is so polished, right? It's probably why it's not that buggy. They kind of know what they're doing at this point. But for me, it's a good start. It's not a perfect game at all, but it's a good start. It's only $30. That's a good price. I think that's probably the best thing they did for this game is make it $30 because after seeing it, I saw a lot of negative on it, and I think for $30, I think it makes it feasible to get it, right? And I'll talk about that, obviously, in a few minutes. But it's an actual playable, enjoyable game. You can sit down and have a lot of fun with this. If you're bored of the norm, like Forza, and any game you play, really, and you just kind of want something out of the norm, this is it. What other? Because there's no other next-gen sprint car racing game. This is out of the norm, something different for you to do. Now the negative, the fantasy tracks. That has to be number one. That has to be number one. No Eldora. I know that they've said that they're looking into adding licensed tracks in the future, which is awesome. It needs to happen. But no Eldora in a Tony Stewart sprint car racing game is just mind-boggling to me. I don't understand how that happened. If anything, Eldora should have been the only licensed track. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. Eldora's in the NASCAR Heat games too. I have no idea how that happened. I just have no idea. There's honestly to me no excuse for that. I don't understand. And then some tracks are just way too unrealistic. Again, like I said, I love the bumps, and I love literally, they asked on Twitter, what are your favorite tracks? Any of the short tracks to me. Any of the flat banked short tracks, as you saw in my video, I'm not very good at the high banked ones, but I love these short tracks, man. They're so much fun to play in this game, and honestly, I can just go into quick race and just play them all day. Graphics. they need to improve. The thing to look at graphics-wise is look at how NASCAR Heat Evolution came to NASCAR Heat 4. NASCAR Heat 4 was a huge evolution, but they're still not perfect. I don't think they're perfect. The top wings of the 410s, they look bad. You can't ignore that. But I mean, if you think about it, the graphics have nothing to do with the enjoyability of the game. It's just honestly an aesthetics thing. Tell me, would you still go back and play a PlayStation 2 game? Probably, right? To complain about graphics to me and actually not buy something because of the graphics to me is such a uh, Gen Z thing or millennial thing to complain about. I mean, it's just like you can still have fun with the game with the graphics being absolutely awful, but it's still something in the negative that can improve, right? So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make there. And then the last thing in the negative, I want to say we need better track changes. Now, I said something about the track looking a little slicker when I was doing the Chili Bowl video, but I want more than that. When I play this game, I want a different track every time I play. You ask any sprint car driver how similar the same track is twice when they go to it, and I can bet you what their answer is going to be. I don't know how they could do this, but I bet it's possible. I guarantee it's possible to make it happen if they work for it. It's just something to think about for the future. You know, the track changing from practice to the actual A main as more cars drive on it, make it slicker. And I think the most important factor to think about with track changes is we need a top line with a cushion. The top line is non-existent in this game right now. There's not even a cushion. It's just straight to the wall. For future releases, I think that should be looked at, and it should happen. Now, even with some constructive criticism, now the question should be asked, should you buy this game? My answer is yes. I don't think it's a pass. But not if it wasn't $30. For the $30 price point, this game is absolutely worth it. You're gonna have way more than $30 worth of fun on this game. Let me tell you. And before you judge the game off of looking at gameplay, you have to try it. I mean, if you watch the gameplay and then you have anything to say about it, I don't think that's because it's so when you first see the gameplay, it's such a big misconception versus actually playing the game. I was super excited to have a sprint car game, but when I saw the gameplay, I was a little hesitant. I was a little in between. I went in with an open mind. I didn't know what to think. But honestly, playing it, it's a surprise. It's a nice surprise to play this game and actually have a very fun time playing it. I've played World of Outlaws 2002 in the 2010 game, and my mind was baffled to be playing an All-Star Circuit of Champions game, and it's just I was enjoying it. It's been a fun game. And if you're a dirt racing fan, these dirt racing games really need the support. It'd be like if an IndyCar game got made after years of begging for one, and then people just trashed on it when it came out. Constructive criticism is warranted, of course, but to absolutely call this game not purchasable and not to give it a try, I think is just not the right move. I think this game is worth it. Honestly, I wouldn't pass on it. Does it need improved for the next releases? Yes, but what game doesn't? So overall, it's a buy for me. If you have the extra money and you are interested in getting a new game to play, if you're bored with all the other ones, which I actually was before this, give it a try. Go give it a try. I think it's really worth it, and I think these dirt racing games also need support, and I think they need feedback. I think this feedback is warranted, and I hope that they improve and the games can get better and better from here on out. This has been Race Nation TV. If you enjoyed this content, please check out my other videos on the channel. I'm going to be planning on uploading way more throughout the season this year. And please go subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.